Greetings, Andy here again, and this video is my catch-up, I promised, of a handful of albums which I sort of got mostly over sort of Christmas, New Year, some in the sort of online sale, some were a bit of catch-ups for albums which I would have bought when they were released had I known about them, but you know, picked up on them later on, mostly watching videos from some of you guys. So the first one though actually was my one proper December new release. I didn't do a roundup for December because I was doing my 2024 countdown, but I only actually had one, and it was the Rough Trade album of the month, and it reminded me of this old picture. Now this is wrong, I know, but this is me, age 17, in white denim. Good God, that's just wrong, isn't it? There's no way I could wear white denim now because I'm a clumsy old oaf, and it's liable to get red wine and other debris on it. So anyway, and I don't go around with my shirt off because it's not a good sight. So anyway, let's kick off. And the band you've probably guessed I'm talking about is White Denim. And this is I've actually got an earlier album of theirs on digital, a sort of download I got some years ago. I can't even remember what the title of it is. This album is called 12, and they're not exactly a band that have been around for decades. I think they sort of started in, I don't know whether it's sort of towards the end of the 00s or early in the 10s, but I think this may well be their 12th album. They've produced a lot anyway, though there's also 12 tracks on it. And White Denim are a five-piece from Austin, Texas, and we have another band from Austin actually. I'm going to read out how they're described on Wikipedia, because this is sort of, it's just like shows what a sort of like a mixed genre they are. So it says their music is influenced by dub, psychedelic rock, blues, punk rock, progressive rock, soul, jazz, experimental rock with home-based recording, jamming approach, intense looping work and unusual song structures. So there's a bit of everything in here, but that description missed what I associate this album with most, and that's funk. It's a really quite sort of funky, almost 70s funk jive to it, or feel to it. It's quite a nice album. I'm really enjoying it. It's not the sort of thing I would usually get, to be fair, but you know, and with the Rough Trade album of the month, it's always a bit hit and miss, but I am really enjoying it, and it's got a fabulous let me put that there. It's got an absolutely fabulous vinyl, and it's described, let me pull it out of here, and it's described as clear with clear with blue yolk, you can see, and it goes around. It's quite nice. So interesting album, and apologies for showing you that picture, it was out of order, and it might well get taken down by YouTube, just for being offensive.
Leave a little light on. Man, it's hard to stay alive sometimes. So hard to sleep alone at night. Many people gonna spread some lies, and many more gonna wear disguises. Keep loving in spite of the darkness, laughing in the faces of the heartless. Leave a little light on when you go.
Move on, and this is this was a catch-up. It's an album which came out in October 2024, and I didn't know about it immediately at the time, but I've picked up on it later and enjoyed samples, and it's the band is called High Vis, and the album, which is their third album, is called Guided Tour. So High Vis formed in 2016 in London, though I think the band, sort of there they are, it's a five-piece. I think the band hail from all over the place. I think they went to college in London, and that's sort of how they got together. They're sort of... They've really formed out of the London hardcore punk. I don't really know what that means, but I think it's basically like a heavy out-and-out punk. I think on here, you know, whilst that is clearly where their roots are, they've softened it a little bit. You know, there's a bit of post-punk in there, and even here and there, a little bit of Britpop, but it's mostly out-and-out punk, to be honest. So the high vis obviously refer to those fluorescent gilets, and the band describe it as, I sort of read this on a review which was quite interesting, it is the unifying clothing item of the working class, and it also just alienates you completely. If you put a high vis on, nobody wants to see you or speak to you unless they want something. Well, there you go. So there's 11 tracks on here, and it's just in black vinyl. The next album is another one which you know, which I would have got at the time. This came out in May 2024, but didn't know about it until much later, so I sort of picked it up over Christmas, New Year, and the band is Blushing, and the album Sugarcoat. So they're also Austin, Texas, but these are sort of dream pop, shoegaze. Dream pop is more in terms of the singing style. The sort of instrumentation is a little bit heavier than you would typically think of. So, you know, it's shoegaze though either way. So it's basically two couples and the sort of sharing various instrumentation, and the two girls do the singing. It's a lovely shoegaze album. I do like a bit of shoegaze, and there are 11 tracks, single LP, and it is very resplendent on a slightly transparent red. I can never put these back. I shouldn't get it out like that. So, and So, and now we come to a couple of my last two are sort of ones I got in online sales, basically. So they were a good price. The first is, and I mentioned this last time, is the Gluts, and the album is called Fuzz Club Session. So this is, I mean, the Gluts is everyone's favourite Italian punk band. They are brilliant, and Fuzz Club is their label basically, but this was a live session which was recorded in London in November 2017, and it was released a year later. So this was a super bargain. It was £5, and then I get sort of like 15% off for being Fuzz Club membership. So it's actually £4.25. So it was cheaper than the shipping, to be honest. And it's sort of like, it's a bit longer than an EP and a bit shorter than an LP. It's a 12-inch, 45 RPM. It's 28 minutes long basically, and there are 6 tracks on it, 3 on each side. And it's the Glut. It's that sort of super, you know, punk feel. They're such a great band. I love them, and it's just I won't pull it out. It's just on black vinyl. This one. the last one was a discovery. So I sort of picked this up on, and I think it was an email, Bandcamp email, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And again, it was heavily discounted. Well, by vinyl, it was I can't remember exactly. It was about 18 quid, I think, something like that. And it is by somebody I hadn't heard of, but probably lots of you have. And that's Scott Fagan and his album South Atlantic Blues. So this originally came out in 1968, and this was a reissue from earlier last year, and then the price came down a bit. And it was Scott Fagan was he was born and sort of brought up in the US Virgin Isles and in the Caribbean, and very poor family, but he sort of moved to in the mid 60s. He moved to sort of Greenwich Village to join that sort of psych-folk one in New York, and this was his debut album. I think he only may have had a couple anyway. I've kept the hype sticker on this because this sort of gives you a bit of a feel for it. Long Lost. Now, I ought to say as well, South Atlantic Blues, we're going to have to change that because we're renaming the Atlantic the British Pond. That will be appearing in Google Maps soon. So this will be the South British Pond Blues at some point. Just saying. Long Lost 1968 debut album by singer-songwriter Scott Fagan, once tipped to be bigger than Elvis. Full of psychedelic folk, Donovanish pop and stripped-down brass-powered redemptive soul, a mystical, mythical and deeply soulful masterpiece, a psych-folk gem doffing a Tropicalia hat direct from downtown New York. His songs embrace a broad sonic fantasia, swirling in 60s New York R&B, 40s jazz, as well as the Caribbean rhythms of calypso, merengue and pajanga. There's definitely a little bit of calypso I get in here, obviously from his Caribbean heritage. So it's a nice album. It's not my usual fare. It's a sort of, it was cheap enough to give it a go, and I like it. It's a nice sort of its time. It really is of its time. It's very 60s, and it's just in plain black. So
see the steel band drummers in the sunshine. Maybe dancing with a mucko June. He's dead. Pain goes to and through me, baby. The carnival's ended.
Plain black. So there we go. And apologies again for showing me with a top off in white denim. It's wrong. I won't do it again, promise. So thanks for watching. Cheers.